So I want to say that if this stream was a Chad Brown horse, it would be called technical difficulties. So we have a man on the street right now, and he is just having a time. I don't know. I mean, Caleb, Andrew Capone could figure out how to record and stream on site. Yet our very own, I mean, this man works with tech for a living. Like he's just he's having a rough go today.
Our what is he, like a chief technology officer of his company or whatever? Can't figure out Bluetooth.
You know, it's funny because now that I think about it, I remember having an issue trying to do it from my phone. I think this was like, when was this? Maybe like 4 or 5 Vegas trips ago. We tried to do something, Caleb, I think, and I called you on my, or we did restream on phone to test it out, and it was kind of weird, and so we just ended up not doing it. But yeah, it looks like Mark's having a little trouble there. But
well, if he joins us, hopefully he gets it figured out. But he's there anyway. We do got the boots on the ground, so
yeah, maybe we'll just if we can figure out a way to have him hear us, maybe we can just like have him direct, just do what he needs to do. I don't know.
We'll signal. Okay, Mark, your turn to talk.
Yeah, we'll
he doesn't
figure
listen
it
to
out
us anyway.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He just talks over us anyways too. So, but yeah, it's man, crazy first couple days at Saratoga to the point where we have a not a 1 day but a 2 day carryover of about, what was it, $520,000 in the Pick 6 pool.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So, it looks like Mark is watching the stream because he just DM'd us. I hate you both. But yeah, it should be. I don't know. I thought it was an interesting sequence. I thought that there were a couple of horses that I'm going to definitely lean heavily on, but you know, I'm sure we'll see things differently a little bit. We did take a look at scratches, and there wasn't really much to talk about. Like, you know, we had last week we had at least a couple scratches that, you know, affected things, but I thought maybe at least one Chad Brown would scratch at some point or something like that. But it seems like it's mostly MTOs. The 7th race. Let me pull up. Whoa, clicking the wrong buttons here. Let me pull up my mile sheet here. The 7th race, which is what kicks off the Pick 5, it's the second leg in the Pick 6, did have 2 scratches of Fitzpatrick and Zoomer. I don't know. Was it you, Caleb, that talked about Zoomer a little bit, or maybe it was Nick Feldman?
Was not me.
Yeah. So I know. I remember somebody, maybe it was somebody in the chat, was a little interested in the 7th.
I thought
Zoomer.
Nick Feldman thought the 3 had a chance to run like underneath. Maybe I thought he kind of highlighted Fitzpatrick here. I guess I'll have to wait to find out.
Yeah, and then in the 9th race, I think we had 1 actual horse scratch. The 11, I think the 12 was an MTO. Yeah, and then 11th race we had the 7, and then you had the AEs/MTOs cancel, or the AEs/MTOs cancel out of there, Alicia's way. So, yeah, it was very. I thought maybe we'd get at least 1 or 2 scratches that would help us out a little bit here, but it seems to be pretty straightforward, similar to how it was when we first looked at it. However, I do want to talk a little bit about this 6th race, since we didn't cover the 6th race on our stream on Thursday, since we only covered the late Pick 5. This is the start of the Pick 6. 25,000 claimers. I'm sorry. I had sparkling water, and apparently it's fight back. So 7 furlongs, 3 3 year olds and up. We're gonna be on the dirt. I think your morning line favorite is going to be Al Cools here, the 8 at 5 to 2, but he's kind of a lukewarm favorite in the book. There's Flamingo Hawk is 3 to 1. You got a couple of horses in long term thinking in Sky We Trust at 9 to 2. Double shot at 6 to 1, and then you get Chris and Dave, and you got some other long shots there. I think the 7, Mr. Pete, one of the long shots is scratched here. I'm going to lean pretty heavily on L Cools here. I mean, he just looks the best in this spot. I think that this should set up nicely for him. Pratt stays aboard, who's ridden him the last 2 times when he's won, and even though he won last time, I mean, it's a drop off a win, and Linda's done this 3 times and has won twice, so I feel pretty confident here in L Cools, and I don't know if I'm going to use anybody else. It does kind of make at least my ticket look pretty chalky. So I don't know. I'm interested to see if you kind of saw a little differently, Caleb.
No, I saw it pretty similar to you, Josh. I think most people are going to start this pick six off by taking the 1 and the 8. So that's Flamingo Hawk, the 1, and the 8 Alcools. I'm probably going to single Alcools, the 8 horse in here, or at the very least, I'm going to have 80% of my tickets with that horse singled to start the pick six. I just think he's the best horse in the field, kind of like you mentioned. He has a pretty big tactical advantage over most of the field in here as far as early speed goes. This race seems to have a number of plotters in it. The 6 might get the lead, Musical America, but this horse seems to be kind of heading the wrong way in form cycle, whereas Alcools is really sharp, stringing together 2 wins. Only concern with him is maybe 7 furlongs. He was kind of life and death to get 6.5 last time. His only attempt going 7 furlongs came a while ago, but he did not run very well that day. So I'm a little concerned about that that extra 16th of a mile, but I do think he's the horse to beat. I'm not going to have Flamingo Hawk on any of my tickets. This horse is getting significant class relief, but is not exactly a win machine. And Safi Joe is historically quite poor at Saratoga. I see him as a 5% trainer at Saratoga from 44 starts, so that's not a small sample size. So it doesn't seem like he can really bring his game with him outside of Florida when he comes up to New York, specifically to Saratoga. So I'm going to not use the 1 anywhere. I'm going to single the 8 on most of my tickets. And if I was going to on my saver tickets, I'll probably include a horse like the 3, Chris and Dave. There's a version of this horse that does win this race. The 9-year-old Gelding probably has his best days behind him, but that last race was almost just too bad to be true. So I'm kind of willing to forgive that one and kind of see if he can get back to some of that earlier Belmont Aqueduct kind of form. But for the most part, I'm going to have Alcools on as a single for most of my tickets.
Yeah, and I think like from a pace scenario, I mean, you got Musical America, the 6 horse here. I think this is how this might be your leader, but you got a couple of weird starts going back there. I mean, the horse is led at 6.5. The horse has not gotten the lead going a mile. And you get Heeman Harkey aboard. It seems like he's gotten, like when he had Cardenas aboard or Caramouche aboard, the horse was getting shoved forward. But I don't know. I think that this horse might just still be too slow, but I think he's got a little bit of a pace advantage, but I just don't know if a pace advantage is going to help a horse like the 6 here.
I agree. I mean, one of the other, like I said, I kind of highlighted the 3 as one of the backup horses I would use. The 6 is kind of another one. The 2 and the 6 are the other 2 backups I'll have on a tiny, tiny ticket. It's for all the reasons you highlighted. The 6 probably is a little quicker than Alcools. And I think Alcools has been more content to sit kind of second in his last few starts, although he will certainly be forwardly placed. And in the event that Alcools doesn't see out the distance, Musical America, cutting back from a mile to 7, I always like that angle here. I mean, this horse has, if you look at the finishing placements, it doesn't look great. 6th by or 4th by 6, 7th by a million, and then 3rd by 10, 5 by 10. But most of those races had kind of runaway winners. I mean, you had 2-3 zone win by 8. You had no balls win by 8. And then the $40,000 claiming race, he just didn't show up for whatever reason. And then last time, I mean, he was pressed the whole way and just kind of didn't get the trip that he needed. The other speed horse that day did run second, so I don't like it when a speed horse duels and one of them holds on and one of them fades. So that's kind of the reason I'm not too high on the 6 here. But at 15 to 1 or whatever, I mean, I think that horse does offer some value for a horse that should be on the lead for at least half the race.
I do want to highlight something in Musical America's PPs. If you go back to that race on the 11th of December, look who beat him in that race.
Mexican Wonder Boy.
But yeah, I tried to make a case for the 6. Like I said, based off the pace advantage, I don't know. Like we're looking for Belmont form where he was in the Atris barn to come back to
Yeah.
Eduardo Jones here. Speaking of Eduardo Jones, no, can you hear us? No, he can't hear us. There was a point. What happens if you just go on speaker?
They can't hear you.
No. Let's see. I'm messaging Mark here. Oh, he's gone again. Jay's bringing up a good point, and this is something that I think we were kind of talking about here. The pick 6 starts off 8-5-3. The value of any price in the last 3 races is gone, and I normally, if this were like a different sequence, um, I would probably agree with him. However, I just think that because there's going to be I'm assuming there's going to be a player's advantage in this pick 6. I don't know how much money's going to be in there, but because there is a player's advantage, and if you're skinny enough in those first legs to where maybe you play it 8-5-3 cold, I still think that you can squeak some value out of this. Obviously, having it multiple times, but but that's mostly just because of the fact that there's $500,000 in the pool already. I don't know. What do you think, Caleb?
I agree, Josh, and I think this comes up a lot. And like I understand the thinking because it does sort of feel like if the first 3 races are you know 2 to 1, 1 to 5, and even money, like there's no value. And like I mean, okay, you're not going to hit a 6-figure pick 6 with those results. Like no, it's probably true, but there's going to be a $500,000 carryover already. It's a dollar base bet, and it just feels like how many times have we seen sequences where we say, oh, if this 1 to 5 wins and this 2 to 1 wins, then it can't pay anything. And the 1 to 5 wins and the 2 to 1 wins, and you get like you beat a 1 to 5 somewhere, and then you get like a $40 horse in the last leg, and it still pays like a couple $1,000s, and you're just sitting there like, wow, like that wasn't that hard to have if I just took what was obvious. So I think in general that it's not always as cut and dry as that. I think this pick 6 is hard. I think the last 3 legs have a ton of potential for calamity. And even if you go single, 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 you can't really go all because that's still going to be a pretty expensive ticket unless you're spending a couple $100s. So I think that I think there's value in this no matter what your opinion is.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, I just think that with the added money in there, I think it's just going to it's going to make sense to play, even if, like you said, you think it kind of goes chalky. I mean, I kind of agree with Jay though. Like that's kind of how I see the first 3 races is just going 8-5-3. I mean, we talked about the next race in the sequence already with reinvestment risk being at 3-5, and I have a hard time finding how this horse loses in this spot. But I mean, after looking at this a little deeper, maybe referencing a couple other products, I mean, is there anything that really changes your mind off that? I heard Ryder Dave talking about Baby Yoda. I mean, he uttered the words Baby Yoda, and I know he's got some connections to the mouse, so maybe like he's contractually obligated to bet Baby Yoda anytime he runs. Maybe it's part of his union contract. I'm not sure, but I mean, you know, I feel like you can't use Baby Yoda if you're going to use. I think you can't use anybody else if you're going to use reinvestment risk. So I'm not even going to say just Baby Yoda. Like, so I don't know. I have a hard time trying to get around reinvestment risk in this spot. But
Yeah, he's going to be everybody's single, and I think he's a deserving single. Truthfully, I'm not really going to try hard to beat him. I am a little bit just interested in the 7 horse River Dog because it doesn't really feel like there's a ton of speed in here. The 8 looks like he has speed, but I don't really know that that's true. I don't think he's fast enough. I guess is what I'm saying. I don't think Drew's really going to send. He's kind of coming out of routes and hasn't been going that fast early. Um, so River Dog's the horse that I think he loves to win. You get connections that are quite hot right now, and okay, he kind of faded out last time, so he probably isn't this good. He probably just isn't. Most of his wins are New York breds, but he's kind of the horse I thought was a little bit interesting if he can get loose and if the track is going to be souped up and carrying speed. But for my pick 6, it is going to be reinvestment risk with pretty much a stone cold single.
Brian Mueller in the chat actually asking a good question, and it's good. Mark's not here, so we can talk about this because he's asking that he sees we're using Brisnet. Why do you like them better than DRF, Timeform, etc.? I will say that I don't necessarily know if I like it better. It's what I'm used to. Well, there's a couple of reasons. One, it's what I'm used to. When I first started playing, that's what I was taught with. The accessibility of it being basically free if you use Twin Spires and never having to pay for data if you just bet on Twin Spires. Third, they will not send us a cease and desist probably as likely as DRF will. DRF has definitely come down very quickly on some people I know for either streaming and showing the PPs or maybe somehow the PPs get into too many people's hands. So there's a couple of other reasons, but I know Caleb and I both rely on it pretty heavily. That's like when we take our first pass at it, it's usually just with Brisnet. I will say of the ones you named, Timeform, if someone told me Brisnet went out of business, Timeform would be what I would use. Caleb, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I agree with you for pretty much everything you said, Josh. I also learned on Brisnet for the same reasons you did. It was free through Twin Spires as long as you made a 10-cent super bet. So it's kind of what I learned on. I just like the fact that they show the information is pretty quick. It has a lot of other it can be as simple as you need it to be. And if you just want to kind of glance at the race summaries at the end of each race they show, those are kind of nice to get an idea of, okay, what are the run styles of these horses, like speed, closer, whatever else. It kind of gives you some track bias information, like how good has the rail been, what's the average beaten length the first call for the winner, things like that. So I think there's a lot of really useful information in the track bias area in the race summary section. For me, also, I kind of learned by marking up the form on paper. So with Timeform and DRF, I don't find it as easy to scribble down my notes and to circle things I want to highlight and whatever else. Brisnet just kind of prints easier to a PDF, and I no longer do it on paper, but at least on either a tablet or in a PDF editor on my computer, it's easier to mark that up. But yeah, I just kind of like the way they display all the information a little bit better. I do like Timeform's speed figures a little bit better. I think that they're generally a little more representative. Brisnet's figs are fine for the most part. I tend to think that they're not very good when it comes to off tracks or marathon races where I think they get the variant wrong. But for most other races, I think the figures are usable on Brisnet, and the pace figs are also something that can be useful if you understand their nuance.
Yeah, and I think Nick kind of touched on it too. He says he thinks Brisnet does a better job of giving you quick summaries and summarizing stuff quickly. And that is one of the things. So buyer speed figures. I mean, I always harp on this stuff, and I think it's funny, but with buyer speed figures, they are there's manual intervention, and I feel like there's a class variant that gets used, and with the class variant, I feel like sometimes you get dishonest figures just because the horse was running in a stakes race or just because the horse was running at a certain track. There's more. I mean, and the thing is, there's nuance with every product. I feel like you can be successful with whatever as long as you understand it. At least I just feel like I've come to understand where Brisnet's shortcomings are, and one of them is a speed figure, but like I know it's just, hey, it's some computer generated number based off the final time, and maybe there's a slight adjustment, but at least I know that, and like I can in my own head adjust the figure, like, oh, hey, this figure's coming from Parks, like, that it might be souped up or something. And with DRF, they try and tell the figure's the figure, but sometimes I'm not really sure. I'm not really sold on that. But going back to Jay, I know he posted this here. He likes the 3, the 5, and the 8 in the first leg, which was he says the 8's the B play. I'm guessing isn't that L Cools?
Yeah, that's Al Cools.
So he's using L. So hold on a second. I know Mark's not here, but I believe there's a defensive B alert. But I hate to do it too, Jay, but I feel like it's needed. But I respect you going with the other horses as A's for sure. And then I don't know. I feel like this is pretty. This race is just pretty straightforward. I don't really think there's much to change here. I did remember that Sibelius ran in that optional claimer with Highly Motivated and Stage Raider, and actually got the lead over them in that race. So is cutting back here a furlong, but I don't know. Like I feel like that's kind of given the mountain of work to Sibelius. That was kind of the other horse I kind of looked at, like, maybe if there's not enough pace here, but you got the 7. Well, the 7 scratched, right? No, the 7 not scratched. It was the last race. But I don't know. I tried to make a case for another horse. I looked at reinvestment risk, reinvestment risk Sibelius, but I couldn't really get there. But let's keep on going. Let's go to the Chad Stakes here, the Diana, and I was hoping that one of these Chad horses would scratch out, so I would have a better idea of what the hell was going on in this race. But we got all six running. Bleecker Street 6-5 on the morning line. If I remember correctly, I think last night I saw overseas she was like -125. So, hi, you there, Mark? Okay, we can't hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay, I can hear you now when you're closer. And now you froze.
Hold on, let me try getting.
What is this guy doing? Yes. But hey, you guys can now hear that's what Saratoga sounds like. That is exactly what Saratoga sounds like. A blown out speaker with Andy Serling getting mad about something. Anthony being like, whoa, relax, Andy. Like, yep, and there's Mark shaking his head.
Lost Mark.
And there he goes. Dude, he's got his tablet right in front of him. Why doesn't he try streaming off the tablet?
Is he out trying to his phone right now?
I don't know. I just pinged him again.
But.
So this is going to be some nonsense, right? Like, there's going to be some shenanigans here. There has to be. You got two E8 horses here, and then you got Delika, who is going to want to go to the front. So, for that reason is why I thought there's no way Bleecker Street can lose this race. She's going to get all the pace that she needs to close into this, but I don't know. Someone was, I think Mark was comparing Bleecker Street to Rushing Fall or some other. Was it Rushing Fall? Where like the horses didn't look fast enough and just kept on winning. But I thought Rushing Fall has always been like a really good horse. People just don't believe in this 3. Maybe we actually get the 6-5, but I highly doubt it.
Yeah, well, consider me people because I don't believe in the 3. Um, I've been against this horse kind of every time, and I'm going to probably continue to be against this horse until she runs a figure that is fast enough to really win a legitimate grade 1. And she just really hasn't. I know that she's undefeated. Like, she passes every eye test you could ever want. Um, but this is a horse that Chad Brown kind of acknowledged he didn't think was this good, or he wouldn't have had her at Monmouth and the Meadowlands. He kind of sent her to Tampa, took her up through some lower level races there, and finally threw her in a grade 1 at Belmont. And I'll admit that was a very impressive race, but I also think that's probably the weakest grade 1 we've seen on turf this entire year. I mean, arguably in a longer time than that. Rozier kind of got exposed as a horse that I think just needs some cut in the ground to really do her best running. She didn't handle the Del Mar firm turf in the Breeders' Cup, although she had some trouble that day. Her first start this year in that Bogey, I mean, I know Brisnet listed it at firm, but the track definitely was more on the good side. Timeform has that rated a 6 out of 10 on the firmness scale, so it's really more like good to maybe even a fringe good yielding. She caught firmer turf again in the New York last time and was just completely one-paced as the 3 to 5 favorite. So I don't think that Bleecker Street beating Rozier is all that impressive. I think she's been flattered by a lot of track biases lately. I mean, we all know how the Churchill was playing to the middle of the track closers the entire meet. Tampa also plays very strongly to closers, and I don't think there was really anything in those Monmouth and Meadowlands races. So, I mean, to me, it's the fact that she is undefeated. However, on Thorograph, on Timeform, she's just kind of okay. Like, she's not the fastest horse in the field on either of those sets of figures. And even on Brisnet, there's horses in here that have figures that are faster than her last 2 races. So for me, I mean, I'm going to trust the numbers instead of the results. And at even money or whatever she goes off at, and a likely single for a lot of people, I'm going to make her prove it to me one more time that she can actually run a fig that is fast enough to win this race, despite what her body of work so far has said. So kind of covered that on Thursday. But yeah, my approach here is basically I don't like Rozier and I don't like Bleecker Street. I don't really know who wins of the remaining 4, but I'm going to use them all. It's going to be the longest 4 prices in a 6-horse field. My top pick would probably be an Italian, I guess. I think this horse has subtly moved forward each time, set a pace that was just crazy last time out in the Just the Game, and really held on admirably, losing to Regal Glory, who's the best filly turf horse in the country right now. And then before that was setting the pace on that quirky Churchill turf where you did not want to be on the rail and you did not want to be on the lead, and she did both. So I thought an Italian here made a lot of sense, sitting on a big effort. It's tough to figure this race because you have to guess what kind of games Chad Brown's going to play. Really, he controls how this race unfolds. If he decides to send both technical analysis and an Italian, if he more than likely rates which one of them, you have to guess which one that is. But these kind of races are frustrating when so much of the race flow is dictated by one trainer.
Yeah, and like my game theory head is starting to spin, and like I have a feeling that all the Chad horses are going to play extremely short in this horizontally. Like I think even if an Italian goes off at 6-1, right? Who I think is probably going to be the longest of the Chads in this race. Even if she goes off at 6-1, she's probably going to play like 2-1, 3-1. I think horizontally, just because I feel like it's a short field, so people are going to feel like they can spread here and get a ton of coverage, and B, I mean, people are going to be like, oh well, I got to play all the Chads. That's Saratoga money. Although I don't know how much Saratoga money really goes into the pick 6, so I don't know. I think I'm gonna stick with the AC approach in this race. I think I'm probably gonna play like a real slammed pick 6. It's gonna be pretty skinny, and I'm gonna single Bleecker Street. And I think we talked about it on stream. I'm gonna make Delika a C in this spot. I'm basically playing off that Churchill angle. Speed wasn't that good, or Speed was dead. I don't even want to say that good. And she basically held on as long as she possibly could before getting passed up by Gam's Mission. So I think that conditioning that she got out of that race, plus just going to be, not against the bias like she was last time out. I think that's going to be I think it's, I don't know. I think we're gonna get a big effort. Whether or not she can win, I don't know. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna at least have one ticket with Dalika on there. And honestly, I think I might play a straight exacta with Bleecker Street over Dalika. And see if we kind of get something similar like last time. We'll see what those payouts look like, and maybe she holds on for a second. And even if Bleecker Street wins, maybe we cash a nice little ticket there.
Yeah, I mean, I respect the angle on Dalika for sure. Like, I'm including her only because she'll be the longest price on the board, and she's coming off that Churchill race, like you highlighted. She's kind of a mare that has trouble putting two good races together, so she's certainly my last pick. But I'm not going to beat Bleecker Street and Regier and not have the 30-1 horse that I do think has a shot in here. So I agree with you. I guess I disagree on the angle of I think everyone's going to single Bleecker Street in here or use Bleecker Street and Regier. I think everyone's going to see this race as having Bleecker Street's a standout. They're going to single her. Otherwise, I think it's going to melt and they're going to take the closers. So I think a horse like an Italian or even Technical Analysis, I think are just going to play much longer because people need to spread in the last three legs, I think.
I mean, you really think so?
I do.
Because I like honestly of the other Chad horses, I like Technical Analysis best. But like my problem is that like I think Technical Analysis I would have used along with Bleecker Street if In Italian wasn't in this race, just because I don't know like who's the rabbit, who's going out to the front, who's gonna, I don't know.
I mean,
have a hard time
I think that's why people aren't going to use them, which is why I think they're going to be longer in horizontals than they actually will be on the live tote.
Oh man, do you remember the Pimlico turf? Was it super speed friendly?
I don't think it really was. I think it was mostly fair, but Technical Analysis was stone cold lone speed in that race, and I think she kind of got away with whatever she wanted to in the lead, and and she ran a fine race.
Yeah.
And I'm using the two. That's my second pick is the Godolphin horse, the Appleby, just based on the connections and the win in Dubai makes me think she can handle firmer turf. So taking a shot there too.
Oh yeah, that's the old Charles Appleby, Mike Smith. And then after that ride, he's like, maybe I should get Jamie Spencer over here.
Who's not exactly my favorite European jockey by any stretch. Really wish we saw William Buick or somebody come over, but that's fine.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. I kind of thought that like I said, game theory wise, that people would try and spread here, so that's kind of why I was kind of be narrow, especially with, like I said, I think that Chad Brown horse, the reinvestment risk is going to be just absolutely slammed. I mean, we're basically playing a dollar pick five, I think, in this spot, and which isn't bad. Like, I'm not saying like we're playing a dollar pick five. That's kind of the way you got to think of it. There's $500,000 added into it. We're probably going to get. It's at least going to be even. I don't think we're going to. I don't think the player's advantage is going to be huge by any means, especially with the 24% takeout on the extra money, which is kind of bullshit, but it is what it is. We got let's try and get through here race 9 again real quick, and then maybe we take a look at the early part of the card here. So race 9, once again, we really didn't have much change here. I think because of how skinny I am, and I hate to do this, but I think I'm going to use the 9, the 10, and the 5 all as A's in this spot. That's kind of how I structured it. I kind of felt the same way with you. Like, I don't trust Fort Ticonderoga whatsoever, but I mean, I think this horse does win this race a heck of a lot of times. So I'm definitely going to use on my tickets. I like Daunt. Obviously, the 5 was my top pick when we talked about this on Thursday. I don't know. Did you kind of change your mind in any ways in this race?
Not really. This one I thought was probably the most open race in the late pick 6. I thought maybe with the exception of the Sanford, which is also pretty tough. But this is a race I just had a hard time with. We talked about Fort Ticonderoga, who I respect. Not a horse that I love at 2-1. That's kind of my hang up. And not a horse I love as the favorite, even if she floats or he floats up a little bit. But given my sort of position that I'm going to go against Bleecker Street and Rogier, I'm not really willing to say that Fort Ticonderoga can't win and leave him off, when I'm already going to be pretty spread in this race. So I have My top pick in here is actually the 4 Analogy. I kind of highlighted this horse on Thursday as one that had more trouble than the comment line would lead you to believe in that last start. I think that really got shuffled way back and made a really nice run against the flow of the race, where it kind of held together up front. So that's my top pick. I'm also going to use Dawn, who you mentioned, as an A as well. And then still tweaking the final structure, but I'm going to have the 2 and the 3 as either A's or B's in this race as well. Royal Spirit, I think, is the class of the field, who's faced better competition than anyone else. And then the 3 is a horse that comes in stepping up from Florida breds in a race that was washed onto the synthetic, but clearly handles the turf and has a lot of early speed. Has excellent turf route pedigree here and actually has the best last out thoroughgraphic in the field. So Forever Super is another one I'm interested in. I do like your 5, Josh. He'll be on a couple of my tickets, Summer Anthem, but this was a pretty spread race for me, where I struggled to really latch on to anybody in particular.
Yeah, Jay says that the 11 scratching really changed his opinion on this race. I don't know if he's just joking or if he's going to add to that. So I'll give him a second to respond. Nick Feldman likes the 4. That's your horse, right? Analogy.
Yeah, that's the one I like as well. The 11 had a really, really fast maiden breaker last time, but it's on dirt. I don't know if they were maybe hoping this gets washed off or what they were really thinking here, but I could see why Jay maybe liked the 11 if he thought that form was going to translate to the turf.
It looks like he's got the 2, 4, 7, and 12 as A's, and the 3 and 6 and 10 as B's. So he's definitely spreading here.
12 is the even money MTO. I'm not sure if he meant somebody else.
I wonder if he meant post position 12.
Yeah, with the coupled entry, he might be talking about somebody else.
Yeah. But I was, we didn't talk about this, but there's a Chad Brown IRAD horse in here, the 6 credit event, and we haven't talked about this horse at all. Like, are we going to get boomed here?
I hate this horse. If he beats me, he beats me. But horse won on the synthetic, did no running at all at Gulfstream, and like I said, he comes out of the same race as Analogy, who's my top pick, and he had a perfect trip, and he just flat out wasn't good enough. I mean, no chance, no excuses, just wasn't good enough compared to the trip that Analogy had, and only separated by a nose. I mean, I'll take the 4 over the 6 every single time. I just don't think the 6 is quite that good. If he beats me, he beats me. But it's 4-1 or whatever, I don't like that horse. Has Chad got a win yet on the meet?
I don't think so. I thought I heard no, but like I said, the past 2 days, it's funny. I took off of work for Saratoga opening day. Thought I'd have some, be able to just chill and just like watch the races and just chill at home. And I've literally like not been home during the day both days. So I haven't had a chance to watch. I've bet, but I haven't had a chance to watch. He said 12 is the 1A.
That horse is interesting. That's the one horse that I kind of have as a C, but I don't know if I'm going to play my C's. It was a very nice 2-year-old. I mean, fought enough to send him up to the grade 1 summer at Woodbine. Ran second or ran 5th to a couple of horses that are really good. Albar and then Grafton Street. And then you just had to think last time wasn't the target. When Shug puts up Jalen Samuels on a turf route, you just had to think that wasn't the goal. I mean, so kind of forgive that one and then maybe think he reaches for Pratt here. This horse might be more live. I don't hate that pick at all.
Dude, Jalen Samuel doesn't have his bug anymore?
I don't know.
It looked like he was carrying 122 last race. So
yeah, maybe not.
Like, oh. All right. Well, then. Congratulations, Jalen Samuel. Did you look at the early at all?
I did, yeah.
Is there anything we got about 18 more? No, I think we got a little bit more, right? Yeah. Okay, we got 20 minutes. Okay. What are we gonna do here? I know we were told very, very emphatically by you to never let you miss another pick 5. So are you playing the pick 5 here to start the card?
Probably not. And I have a few, kind of 2 reasons, one of which is the pick 6. I want to put most of my money into that. I don't want to dilute my pick 6 tickets by going after an early pick 5 that I don't love the sequence. I also love a few spot plays that I'm really going to go after with some doubles and a couple pick threes. A couple of them are in the early. And then race number 5, I really have no opinion whatsoever. And kind of being the anchor leg of the early pick 5 is it makes it tough for me to play when I don't have an opinion there. But I do love a couple of plays in the first couple of races of the day. Did you look at
What
it, Josh?
I did not get much of a chance to look here at the early. What did you kind of see in
Um,
this first race here?
in this first race here, so this is not an opinion I love, but I am gonna play something here. I thought this 6 horse looked really good. This field feels pretty hungry. I mean, there's not exactly any wind machines or monsters in here, so I'm fine with taking a new shooter. George Abreu does excellent with first time starters, specifically in maiden claiming events, which is kind of odd. Generally, I would shy away from horses debuting at a route, but the 3 times Abreu's done that, he has 2 wins. The damn glorious view of the 6 here was extremely fast. She was a stakes winner. There's been a couple of siblings, all who have won. Abreu reaches for Jose typically when he has a live mount, and I know some folks are like, bought for $250,000 and is getting debuted for a tag, but this is Klarovich. They're just realistic with their placement. They're not gonna they have a lot of investments that just don't work out, and that's fine. So I'm not really losing sleep over that. I like the pedigree here. I like the fact that this is a new shooter in a field that seems to kind of lack any real standouts. So I'm going to build around the 6 here. I also thought that the 5 and the 7 made some sense as well. 5 is likely your leader, but he's kind of had some trouble hanging on in his last couple of starts, so it's hard to feel too strongly about him. The 7 is a horse that's getting some class relief, and might show speed, might be a closer. Honestly, with a different jockey, I'd be higher on the 7 here, but Leparou's had a couple of suspect rides yesterday in particular that cost me some money, so I'm a little bit soured on him. But blinkers come off, so I'm guessing he's not going to be forwardly placed. But just on the drop here, he does have some ability, I think, in a field that looks pretty bad. The 1 horse here is the one that I think will take money, who I don't want anything to do with. I know it's Pletcher on the drop, but this horse has shown absolutely no ability whatsoever. I'm not really convinced that the drop's going to be enough to wake this one up.
Yeah, I mean, like looking from a pace scenario, you would think that this would set up here for this one, but um, really his only passed horses. Well, I guess passed horses twice, but that last effort, well, I guess it was on the turf. Huh. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it
I don't
feels like
know.
the pace should be honest, right? The two actually might be your leader on the stretch out here. The 3 with Saez is likely going to go, and the 5 has to go. So, I mean, you could see a contentious pace here, which is why I'm kind of looking to the 6 to maybe sit just off, hopefully. I like the outside draw there. The 1 probably does get the pace he needs, but I just don't know if he's any good. That's my bigger kind of hang up. I mean, it's very much a we don't know what to do with this horse kind of a horse where he debuts in the Winter Aqueduct at a sprint. They stretch him out to a route at Gulfstream. They put him on the turf. They try a turf marathon, and now they just kind of pull the plug on this project and say we don't know. So those are not horses I like to bet at short prices.
Yeah, and I think with well, I guess they're not really cutting back that much because I really kind of want to make cases for this 5 here. The 5, and this is I guess part of the way I kind of look at these races, right? I'm looking, and now the 5 is at an E8, right, which is going to show that he's going to be a leader here. You got to, like I said, you got a lot of speed horses here. But interestingly, Brisnet thinks that the 5's got the best back speed. Ran the fastest late pace last time out. So I don't know. That's something that kind of pops out at me here. But I'm trying to make a case for a 3-1, I guess. I don't know. I think your 6 might be it, just because none of these other horses really interest me. And Jorge Abreu definitely has success first time out. So it's always hard when you see a first timer going against horses that have already run routing. But this horse is also 4. So this horse has probably has got a little bit more seasoning than your typical 3-year-old maiden. So yeah, I could see the 6. I think I think I would probably be 5-6 here if I were playing anything. Oh, I thought that was Mark pinging me, but it was not. All right. What about race 2?
Race 2, yeah. So this is a race that I'm going to double out of probably. My best opinion is race 3, but I think race 2 is still a pretty interesting betting opportunity here. I kind of looked at this race and I thought there was a lot of speed in here. Kind of looking at the race, it seems like the 4 and the 6 both have no option other than to just absolutely go. Ricardo is not a jockey who backs down from a speed duel, and these Wesley Ward horses generally only know one way to go on the 6. So I think we at least get 2 horses out there that are just tearing along. And then it really seems like the 1 and the 3 typically do their best work on or near the lead. I mean, the 3 hasn't really been fast enough to get the lead in his past few starts, but when he doesn't get the lead, she doesn't really just seem to run all that well. So she probably has to be forwardly placed. Well, we could make the same argument for the 1 who really has only passed 1 horse in her career as well. With the rail, that kind of limits your options as far as what kind of trip you're going to work out. So with all the speed in here, I kind of look to the 7 as a horse who also races forward, but at least passes other horses. Ran a pretty good race last time. I think just sat too close to a pace that was on the swifter side, and just couldn't quite get the job done. But this is the horse that I think is sitting to the outside draw. She gets to see all the horses to her inside and probably gets the pace setup that she needs. She does have a bit of hang in her. That's a little bit of my concern here, is that she's got those 6 second place finishes and hasn't exactly been a win machine here. But she's probably the one that I would have the most confidence in to run her race. She tends to do well at Saratoga with 1 win in the second from her 2 starts here. And with the blinkers on, I'm hoping that maybe gets her a little more focused to try to finish off these races. So for me, I think the 7 is probably my play here. I have a passing interest in the 2, who is the other horse that I thought might be able to come off the pace a little bit. There have been races where she's flashed speed, but I think that would be a mistake in here if she tries to go with some of the others. So I'm kind of hoping she might be able to set off a little bit like she did in her last 2 starts at Laurel and Pimlico. So she's one here that I would probably use more as like a B or C in a pick 5, but one that I have a little bit of interest in. But those are really the only 2 horses that I thought that I wanted to use.
No interest in this 5, huh?
I tried to use the horse because she is a closer in this field, but she just seems too slow. She had to drop in for a tag to break her maiden, which, I like the fact that at least she did break the maiden and quite convincingly in that effort. But she really needs to take a big step forward while stepping up in class against winners for the first time. James Ryerson's barn has been very, very cold. I think he was something like 3 for 70 or something in the Belmont meet. So, I mean, if you wanted to use the horse, I do think she gets the pace setup she needs, and maybe she can get away with running a slower fig because the race absolutely melts. Maybe the light bulb comes on after getting that 1 win and she sort of figures some things out, but probably not one I'm going to use.
Who was that 0 for 25 maiden that kept on finishing second? That just broke its maiden. It's not blowout. It was something bailout. Yeah. When is she running today or she run yesterday?
She ran yesterday, I think.
Did she win?
I do not think she won.
I just saw that this horse. It took this horse a couple times. I was real curious if bailout won.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she ran yesterday, and she ran 7th.
She ran 7th. Damn. I thought we had Switzerland 2.0 on our hands. So in the 3rd, it looks like Jay's already ready to talk about the 3rd race. He's asking about this 12 horse, Sal's Dream Girl in the 3rd. But it looks like you have a real strong. Oh, and by the way, I pretty much agree with you, Caleb, on the 7. I just think the way the race flow looks, the 7 just looks like he is going to get the trip. I'm also going to probably use the 5 though. I think I'm just going to play a quick little double here with the first 2 races. But you said that you had a real strong opinion in race 3. Jay is asking about the 12. Is the 12 your strong opinion in this race?
It is not. I like the 12, but not my pick here. I love the 8 horse in this 3rd race here, Saratoga Chrome. So I had this horse as a bet back after his April 28th race, where he broke through the gate prior to the race, and then he ran up and rushed up and kind of contested a pace that was definitely on the faster side, and then kind of just got a little bit tired and faded late. That was his first start first start in like 5 months. So probably fair to excuse that one off the bench. So I was looking forward to betting her in that June 4th race, and she just gets unbelievably bad trip. I mean, the comment probably doesn't do the trouble justice. It just says checked at the mile. But this horse, I mean, checks up and literally, I mean, goes from about mid pack to just dead last immediately, and dead last by quite a while. And that was a race that really held together up front, where the top 3 or 4 finishers pretty much finished in the top 3 or 4, with the exception of Saratoga Chrome. And she was just really putting in a big run late down the middle of the track. I really think she makes a lot of sense in here with a better trip in either of her last 2. I think she wins. And I think you're also getting a jockey upgrade on the turf, going from Kendrick to Tyler. I love Kendrick. He's like one of my favorite jockeys, but he had a pretty bad Belmont meet when it comes to the turf. I think he was like 1 for 50 on the turf. So, this was a time he was not riding his best. I think getting Tyler here is an upgrade. So I am all over Saratoga Chrome in here. I think this horse will get bet because of the trouble last out. I think people are going to see that. But I think there's enough other options in here between the Chad and the Pletcher and the Rosario horse that I think you'll probably get 5-1 on this horse. And I'm going to have all kinds of doubles and win bets going through Saratoga Chrome here.
I do want to note that Andrew Champagne came in here firing, Mr. High Life himself, saying, Josh with the freshly rolled out of bed of hair, strong start. I had to go to the DMV this morning before the stream. Caleb, am I a morning person?
If morning is like 11:30, then yes.
So I had to wake up at about 7 to try and get out to the DMV around 7:30 this morning because I thought, hey, there's not going to be a line that early. And boy, was I wrong. So it was actually funny. My wife actually told me that it's actually usually better to go like late morning because by that point the line has died down because everybody gets there like and lines up beforehand. It's been crazy, man. The DMV experience in Illinois has not been great, but I was in line for like 40 minutes and then I was in and out in about 20 after that. So it could have been worse. But I had to wake up super early. I got like 4 hours of sleep. So thank you for pointing that out. I didn't get a chance to look at this race. Brian asking, can't you guys make appointments at the DMV? You can, but only for driver's license stuff. So if you need to get like your license renewed, if you need to get a new ID card, anything with your license, you can. Anything with your vehicle, such as plates, title, what else? Registration, any of that, you need to actually go in and you can't make a reservation for it. Not to get like super crazy, but basically I was transferring the title from my dad's car, who passed away a couple of months ago, transferring it into my name. So I just had to I went. This is the second day in a row I've been in the DMV because I went yesterday and they're like, you don't have all the paperwork. And I was like, great. So at least I figured out what I needed and I went today and it was pretty smooth. But that hellish nightmare that is a DMV is now
2 days in a row at the DMV, my dude.
Yeah, I know. And instead of watching Saratoga, instead of playing Saratoga, I was at the fucking DMV yesterday. Yeah, great. And Road Warrior finally woke up. He says good afternoon. It's 11:56 a.m. So, yeah, there you go. At least the worst part of your day is over. That's true. I didn't get a good chance to look at this race, but I guess my one comment I have to have you is, if this was Saratoga Union Rags, would you bet this horse? Because Saratoga Chrome is probably got the same ring on turf.
Okay, so Union Rags is the champion of bad turf horses. California Chrome is not great, but this
is the champion of bad horses, period. Yeah. But
he's proven he handles the turf. Or she's proven she at least handles the turf, so I don't care that much at this point. I'm having everything through this horse. To Jay's, was it Jay? Yeah. Someone mentioned the 12. Yeah, I mean, the horse looks good here. It will probably be my second pick. But beyond the 8, I think the 3 logicals are going to be your top 3 choices: the 1, the 4, and the 12. So I think I look at them all about equal, but I certainly prefer the 8 in this race.
Yeah, it looks like, man, at least looking at this quickly, it looks like they think the 5 might go to the front, might get the lead. What is this?
5 has some speed. And you do have Saez. I wouldn't be totally surprised to see that horse out in the lead. Um, but he's going from maiden claiming up to maiden special weight, which I think is it's a tough thing to do at Saratoga. And I'm also not sure that I believe the times from that Belmont race or the yielding turf. I think they might have been a little funky.
Yeah. So you're fading the Chad.
I mean, I am, but more so because I love the 8 as opposed to anything I dislike it off the Chad. But Chad with 3 starts in 3 seconds, generally not a horse I want to bet. I think he's going to get over bet because people are going to see that New York bred stakes race. But
They finished second, yeah. Oh, speaking of the Chad looks really, really tough. I'd like the 11 more with a better post. That one might have some talent. So the 11 being Jocosity, the first-time starter for Bill Mott.
Mott firsters are not for me, especially on the turf.
So apparently Road Warrior and Andrew is the same person because Road Warrior says I'm playing the Mott firster with Chad in there.
Was there any surprise that the Red Warriors taking the Mott in the Chad?
Yeah.
But it is it's a salty field. I think you'll get a good bet on anyone who you like, with the exception of maybe the 4, who I think might be overbet a little bit.
Yeah. Brian asking about how far in advance we normally download the PPs in advance of the race. And that, I think it just depends. Usually for the weekend, I'll download them like Thursday or Friday. But I don't usually look at them until about Saturday morning or about like 2 minutes to post. If I'm being honest, but
usually morning of for me. For the streams, obviously I'd prepare ahead of time, but a lot of times if I prepare too far in advance, I forget why I liked what I liked, and I have to re-handicap it anyway. So
yeah, I usually just do a quick first pass, if anything, and then once scratches come out, and you especially if you're playing like a late sequence, once you see kind of how the track is playing, that's kind of where you finalize your opinions, but. I only looked at the late, really. I was going to look at the early, but like I said, I had to go to the DMV this morning. Road Warrior saying that he's spent the least amount of time handicapping this year, and he's up good. So, trainer bets for the win.
If it ain't broke, right?
Yeah. If it ain't broke, but sometimes a broken clock's right twice a day. So,
the only thing broke lately has been me.
What do we got? We got 4 minutes to post here. Let me pull up the stream so I can actually look. Oh, look at that! They're giving that 4 a pretty good warm up there. So what do you got here, Caleb? You got a ticket you're playing here, or
I do? Yeah, I'm playing an ice cold pick 3, 6, 7, 8 actually. So the Abreu firster in the first leg. That Chloe Rose off the pace horse in the second leg, and then obviously the 8 horse I just talked about in the third. Trying to get that home. I'm playing that big for like $20 base, and then I'm playing a slightly more spready pick 3, 6 with the 2, 5, 7 with the 8 for just like $2.
Too bad, too late. I already said that this is what you're playing here. So Caleb going the 6, 7, 8 here, ice cold, race 1.
Go for it.
Yeah. I'm playing a little bit of a double here. And that's, like I said, mostly just because I'm saving most of my budget for this pick 6. So I'm just doing a 5-6 over 5-7 double here. Just a little action here. See, maybe I can pad the bankroll up a little bit before this pick 6, but
a lot of money coming on this 6 horse. Currently co-favored at 5-2. So I think people, or at least the public, is generally seeing kind of the same thing I did, a pretty uninspiring field, and some strong connections on the 6, maybe taking a shot here with a new shooter.
Yeah, it looks like I'm just looking at the double payouts. Looks like the 7's going to be the favorite next race. Is that kind of what we were thinking? Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing as well. A fairly sizable favorite, more than I expected. Not really betting the 1 as much as I thought they would next race.
They're not betting the 1 at all. The other horse they're betting is the 4 next race. I see the 5-4 double at 15. I see the 5-7 double at 14. So those are the 2 lowest pay, and the 6-7 is also 14. So So yeah, I feel like they're seeing it the same way I'm kind of seeing it. So, let's see. Oh, I got like 9 million windows open here. All right, looks like Jay said he'll take the 3 in the first race for an action bet here.
I kind of like that, Jay. I mean, I respect. Like, I looked at the 3 and it's kind of the same thought process. Like, I'm kind of tired. I've seen enough of the 2. I mean, I've almost seen enough of the 5, and the 4 doesn't look like he has any ability. The 3 is kind of the horse that hasn't had enough. It hasn't shown me enough poor results on dirt to think that this horse can't win. So I don't hate that. I mean, the pace might be a little bit tough for him, but that's a good bet at 6-1, I think.
Andrew saying lots of very, very bad auction buys in this race 1. I believe, one of the horses I'm betting, the old $1 million Keeneland horse here, North Pole. So not going the way they thought it would with this horse. 0 for 9 maiden. Oh, and the 7 is a $375,000 purchase as well. Wow. I mean, I guess I kind of don't blame the. It's hard because Frosted was debut sire last year.
Yeah, he was a freshman sire.
Yeah,
I think it was last year.
So you had $250,000. I mean, people go crazy over those trying to get.
He has not been a particularly successful, stallion so far. We'll see if that changes, but.
Oh man, the 3 cost $475,000. I didn't even see that one. Man, don't buy horses at auction. That's your tip here. Oh, what the heck is it? Okay, all right, we're at post time here. They're kind of circling the wagons here. Looks like Andrew said that he really liked the early pick 5 here. He said the back half of the card seemed really chalky, which I kind of like I said, I kind of agreed with him. I think we have a little bit of disagreement on the turf race, and then I think we got after this race we got race 10 and 11 to get through still, so we can go ahead and kind of touch on the last couple legs there, and finish up the stream. Yeah, unfortunately, Mr. Mark Capitan was having some problems, so he was supposed to be on site, giving us the sights, the sounds, the smells, Saratoga. We were going to have him live taste a couple of springs possibly, but man, your dad loved that Saratoga spring water, that bottled Saratoga spring water. He was chugging that stuff down. He was chugging that stuff on like it was going out of style.
I know. Granted, I think we had every drink on the drink menu.
It is true. I think I had every drink on like in one day. I think you had every drink
in the same day.
Yeah. It was funny because you know what? Like I didn't even realize it till you pointed it out like later that day, and I was like, man, I wasn't even really that buzzed.
No, you weren't. I was feeling it, but you seemed sober. That's the day Dad hit that pick 5 at Del Mar, I think.
Yeah. It's funny. My wife says that when I get drunk, I sound more Mexican. She says that like I get like my Latino accent comes out more. And I was like, really?
That's really funny. I don't know if I've ever noticed that.
I was like, okay. I sure as hell don't notice it. So
maybe I haven't seen you drunk enough.
We can fix that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, 6 looks like he's a favorite now at 2-1. You know, honestly, this 7's looking win bettable at 5-1 now. I feel like I need to pull out that meme that you got where oh wait, no, this is the wrong race. Wrong race. The 5, 7-2, the 6. I was thinking of the next race.
Yeah, I was like, I guess he's win bettable at 5-1, but okay.
I was thinking of the next race. I was like, oh, Caleb, there's your best opinion on the card, but no, it's the next race. Trying to keep all this stuff. Jay saying when he's drunk, he sounds like a redneck.
Apparently, my West Virginia accent comes out.
Yeah.
I probably believe
Speaking of redneck.
So this is the first mile race that I've seen because I missed opening day. Did anyone else see anything, that watched on Thursday? Did they notice anything with the mile shoots? I mean, did it play relatively fair? Was any horse post or run style that seemed like had no shot? I mean, I know it's hard to judge after one race, but
Somebody said that it looked like the inside horses struggled a little bit, but I don't know. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but this 5 is holding steady here at 7-2. I'm actually going to fire just a small win bet, $10.
yeah. I mean, they leave the opening gates empty and they fill it from the outside in, so they're trying to make the inside post as fair as they can. But yeah, I mean, if you have like middle speed and you're not a one run closer or a speed ball, I still think there's a good chance you're going to get pinched.
Yeah, I think they said that they're only going to run a max of like 10 horses or something.
Yeah, it was either 8 or 10, but I know they capped it.
What the heck is this guy loading? Dude, did you see that guy loading?
Kick the horse?
No, he like fake kicked it.
Oh, I was gonna say
he like fake kicked it. Like, I'm like, why?
That'll make all the PETA activists that are out front real happy.
Yeah, Mark sent the picture, and they were out in force today. They normally are on the weekends. That's what it was. It was nice. It was nice the last time we went. Where we were parking like up front or in the valet, because you skip right past all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But man, walking up, like it's just like, dude, like leave me alone. All right, they're off here. I don't know, it doesn't look that crazy to me, you know?
I mean, the turn comes up on you really fast, but it doesn't seem all that. You're already like halfway through the turn, so.
They kind of rated this 5 a little bit.
They did.
I still
was
think
kind
he's
of
in a
hoping
good
the 6
spot,
would be
though.
off the pace. Yeah, the times are going to be tough to figure for this mile race because I don't know what the run-ups are. I mean, 24-1 feels ridiculously slow, but if there's like no run-up, that might make sense.
Yeah, there was I think the same thing happened last race, or the race I saw. There was like the horse was on the lead and was a super slow pace, but we kind of just assumed that maybe the time was wrong.
That's a pretty honest middle
second fraction, yeah.
For this level.
I mean, the 6 is cruising. The 6 is cruising. The 5 and the 1 are all out.
Yeah, 6 is getting a little short, but we'll see. It's a pretty horse.
It is. And it didn't rain. You're not supposed to bet the grays, I thought, when it's dry out.
Right.
Jay's saying at least the 3's in last.
I'd rather if I bet a horse to win and I don't win, I think I'd rather him run last than second.
Oh, thanks. Oh. Mother.
I get nailed by the 1.
Wow.
It's been that kind of meet for me, or month for me, or lifetime for me.
Any chance the 6 held on?
No chance. I don't think.
Oh. Oof. Oh, man. Shampow's immediately onto the 1. Hold on. Let's see. What did Johnny I say? Did he say photo? I actually think that a fun drinking game would be every time Johnny says photo, you got to take a drink. I don't want to out this person publicly, but there was a certain individual who I told that I just did not like Johnny I like calling. Like I just didn't think he was good, and this person was very defensive of this opinion and did not agree with me at all. And yesterday, I get a DM on Twitter being like, "Hey, you were right. I agree with you now." Yep, the 1 got there. Mother effer. Yep. Chapel Hill saying, yeah, he thinks the 1 got it. He needed the 6. That's kind of where we were too. I thought the 5 was going to make a nice little run there. The 5 I thought set a good trip, but the horse was all out at the top of the stretch, and
6 was getting short coming out of the turn, and just a matter of if any horse behind him had any semblance of ability. I mean, they were going to run him down at that point. But
All right, so let's do quick take. Speed is bad. The inside's bad. All right, outside closers. Let's go. I will say that sometimes, like, I mean, especially if you're playing like race by race and not like playing horizontal sequences, sometimes like making like those gut calls early in the card, I think going to be what provide the most value. Not saying that this is the case in this race, but if you think that's true, no one's going to catch on to it for at least another 2 or 3 races. So,
I mean, from what I watched yesterday, I thought the dirt was relatively fair. Like, you want to be forward like you always do, but if you were good enough, you could win off the pace. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing to start today off. I mean, I'm not saying speed's dead, but I don't think it's golden or that we have a golden rail, or I don't think that result comes in the way that it did.
All right, let's finish up this pick 6. See if there's really anything we wanted to change here. Race 10, Sanford. Do you do any more work on this? You look at some works, look at some replays or anything. Is there any kind of thing you want to make a change to?
I kind of reshuffled a little bit here. So I did a little more digging, and initially I was kind of uncertain what to do here, and honestly I'm still uncertain. These are not my favorite races, but apparently this race has not been won wire to wire in 12 years, which surprised me because I always associate kind of 2-year-old stakes races or 2-year-old races in general as run as fast as you can, as far as you can, and generally the best horse will win. But kind of given that history and given the fact that it felt like off the pace was okay yesterday, it seems like it's okay so far in the one race we've seen today. I'm kind of shifting away from some of the speed horses. So yesterday I kind of liked Curly Jack and a few others. I'm going to shift more towards the off the pace runners. I liked Forte yesterday, but I'm going to kind of upgrade him even more so. And I'm upgrading the other horse I liked, number 12, Valenzende, who is coming off that troubled trip last out in the Tremont Stakes at Belmont. So I think those are both off the pace runners that I think should get the right setup today. So those are the two I'm going to be using the most of. I'm still going to be fairly spready here, but I'm looking to use most of them. And I am going to throw in the one, Boppy O, who was nowhere on my analysis on Thursday. But this is a horse who is an off-the-pace runner who's coming in with strong workouts. It has a B+ in his last work on July 3rd on the DRF Clocker reports, giving him some love. And this is a half-sibling to Papa Cap, who maybe isn't an all-star, but was a very precocious 2-year-old and did win some nice races and run some good races at 2. So Boppy O, I think, is a horse here that also I'm going to include, who I didn't initially have on Thursday.
Yeah, and those Bolt Doros, man,
They've been
they're firing. It's like the gun runner this year, apparently. Yeah, I landed on the 4, the 9, and wait, dude, I have no idea why I wrote that down. I like the 9 the best. I just thought, like I said, that was the best fig. It was a sloppy track. I think there's a bit maybe going against it there, and with your stat, maybe I'm a little bit more gun shy. I definitely am going to be using this 12 though, Valenzende. Basically, same reason you are. You see these 2-year-old stakes races. You look for horses that have passed their horses. I feel like, and you get Rosario aboard, and he loves to pass other horses, even if he's like he passes like 9 horses a race. The problem is that sometimes there's like 14 horses in the field, and so he finishes a tired 5th. But yeah, I don't know. I like Valenzende in this spot, especially just with all the speed. I thought maybe we'd get a couple of scratches in here that maybe change my opinion. I want to fade Forte, but man, I don't know. It's just the rest of the card is so chalky. Like I have a hard time. Just using another short price horse in here. So, but yeah, maybe that gives you cause to look at maybe some of these other horses, maybe some of these Monmouth horses, which I know you love, like the 2 Major Dude or 3 Great Navigator. But didn't you talk about the 3 a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, he's an off the pace runner that wasn't expected to be much in debut. Went off 17-1, but just destroyed a field at Monmouth. 3rd place horse came back to win, and the figure came back respectable. I mean, he's not the fastest horse in the race, but he's probably in the top 4 or 5 based on that fig. I mean, he's faster than a lot of other horses that are going to be a lot shorter than he will, I think. So yeah, he's a horse that I think I'll probably include a little bit just because he's an off the pace runner that is going to get completely overlooked based on the connections and where he won. I don't know how much I trust Monmouth Figs at 4.5 furlongs. That's kind of the reason I'm a little bit more hesitant on him. Is I don't imagine they run that configuration all that frequently, so I'm not sure how much stock to put in that fig. But he's one that he'll probably be 20-1 or more. I mean, I think he'll make a small ticket of mine.
Did I didn't take a look at time form at all. Did how'd that fig look on time form compared to the other?
For the Monmouth horse, the 3 horse
Yeah.
here. On time form, it's an 86, which is not the fastest, but it's within striking distance. I mean, Forte and Damo Frenzy are both 198, so they kind of are the two standouts in the field. And then there's a number of horses that are in that 85 to 90 range. So he's kind of in that second tier, right below the top two, where he would, if the top two don't fire, then he makes just as much sense as anybody else.
Yeah. Why don't we hit up this last race and maybe just walk through maybe how we're going to kind of structure maybe some of these other bets here, and then head out while we Mr. Structure himself is just beside himself. And I mean, he probably got nailed there. No, he
Mark
probably
told
used
me
that.
Mark told me he had a slam double 6 with the. I think he had 6 with the 1-6. So he also
got nailed. Okay.
With us. So I'm sure that coupled with his technology issues, I'm sure he's pretty pissed.
Oh no, he's all red faced. Oh, poor Mark. All right, race 11. We had the 7 scratch out of this, and then I think you got like MTOs on the back. The 13 AE did draw in, looking to fly, which we really didn't talk about, I don't think, on stream last time. But I really like this 10 horse Freedom Machine. Get Jose Ortiz aboard. You got a kind of dead closer. Seemed the last 2 races seemed to have a little bit of trouble at the start. So hoping for a little bit of a cleaner start here from this 10. And then I think if you kind of excuse those 2, some of those back races are definitely competitive in this field and can win here. Obviously, the lightly raced Chad, the 9 with Irad aboard, coming to the turf for the first time, but has got a win on the synthetic. Seemed to improve from that maiden win to the allowance race, and looked like he was a little bit green, or she was a little bit green in that race. So Chad horses tend to get a little bit more professional as they get a couple runs in them. So I will I'll be using that 9 as well. I don't know what to do with this 4. Mostly because I have so much other chalk on my tickets that I just feel like I can't take this 4. If I remember correctly, you didn't like this 4, right?
No, I like the 4. It's just I don't like him at 2-1. But I've sort of changed my tune on this horse since Thursday.
Oh yeah, what are you thinking?
I like the 4 now more than I initially did. I think, and this is what it's kind of nice about a Saturday stream versus a Thursday, is watching the races yesterday. I mean, I wasn't really sure what the Jonathan Thomas barn was going to be doing. I mean, they're a very streaky barn. When they're hot, and when he's not firing, they don't have it. But seeing that Jonathan Thomas horse win the turf sprint yesterday with the 11 horse, I forget the name, Empress Tiger or something like that. Quite impressively. I mean, pressing the pace, sitting off, drawn away, and being pretty clear. I mean, it seems that was another horse that was coming from Woodbine, similar to Diva Ready here, the 4. So seeing all that, seeing this horse dropping in and getting some decent class relief, 4th by 2nd, but really only missed 2nd by a neck. So this is a horse that I feel a little more confident about building around than I did on Thursday.
Yeah, this is like one of those things where I look at my ticket and it's like I can't have the favorite in like every single friggin' leg. So this might be a place where I kind of zig. It just, I don't know. I kind of got to take another look at my structure. I think I'd like the 10 the best in this spot. So, and you're getting a much better price on this 10, 10 to 1 in the book. I don't really see this 10 getting a ton shorter just because you do have a Chad and you got a Pratt horse that's 2 to 1. So, they'll probably get bet down.
Yeah, I'm looking back. I like the 4 and the 6 the best. I had 5 horses written down after that, and none of them were the 10. So I think you'll get your price.
Let's take a look. Steven's making fun of my your one race assessment. I'm gonna say, look at it can screw up your handicapping, but like I said, if you're looking to try and spike a price somewhere, maybe you get lucky and you spot a bias before somebody else does. I'm not saying it's just like, oh great, the first race was won by a leader, like instantly, zap to it or anything like that. But if you think you see something, definitely the earlier you can play it, the better, especially with bias. So have you structured up your tickets yet?
Yeah, but I don't know if I have anything that's like super presentable. Let me see.
No, it's fine. What do you think you're budgeting for this sequence here?
I'm gonna try to keep it around 150.
Okay.
And I'm gonna try to take be very skinny and very wide kind of approach. Like I'm not gonna have a ticket that's 2 by 3 by 3 by 2 by 4 by 2. Like I'm not gonna have something like that. I'm gonna have a ticket that, honest to God, probably starts out with 2 singles. I'm going to single Al Cools, and then I'm going to single Reinvestment Risk. I'm going to spread in the Diana, but I'm going to try to beat the top 2 choices with Rogier and Bleecker Street. I'm going to take the remaining 4. And then I'm going to have a lot of spread in essentially the last 3 races, or the last 2 of the last 3 races. I'm going to have a lot of spread in race 9, where, I'm going to use Fort Ticonderoga. I love Analogy in there. I'm going to have, probably 5 or 6 horses in there with the 2, 3, 4, 9, 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10. And then in the 10th race, I'm going to have a lot of spread as well for the Sanford. I just don't trust these maiden 2-year-old stakes races. So I'm going to have some spread there. I'm kind of setting a hurdle for myself in that race, is that I'm not going to use the number 9 on Diamoa Frenzy. I just think that's a horse that coming out of the state bred races in the slop with the speed, I think I don't want that horse as my second pick, especially because I like Forte. So using in that race probably some combination of 1, 4, 12 with a little bit of a 3, and then in the last race I'm probably going to get a little more narrow, just using the 4 and the 6.
So Brian actually asking, why are we playing the pick 6 today instead of the pick 5? I like playing the pick 6 at Belmont or at Nairo tracks, just because it's non jackpot, and the fact that it's a dollar base, and you can, if you're skinny enough, you can definitely win a lot on a little. First day we were at the track, I hit the pick 6 for like 2K or something, 2,200, and I think I was on like a $36 ticket or something. So, but the most important thing about today is that there's $520,000 in the pool already for a carryover. So anytime that happens, I generally play carryover pick 6 or pick 5 if there's a carryover in pick 5. But definitely playing the pick 6 here today. I will I'll be kind of similar to you, Caleb, in that I think I have like 2 or 3 legs I'm going to have singles in, and I'm going to spread in the other legs. But I don't think I'm going to spread as wide as you did. Like I think I took a first pass. I took a first pass at this, and I was basically like, my slam ticket's going to have 4 singles and then 3 horses in the other couple legs. And then I think what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to play a couple of C's also in the Diana. So I'll probably have 2 tickets there. And then, I think we talked about this a little bit on Thursday. We're going to kind of get together and maybe go over structure a little bit different. Mr. Mark Capitan is ABC to the T. But I know that myself and Caleb kind of, we vary from that. We're not necessarily to that. But I see Caleb just sent me a message. Let's see if I can. Does this work? Oh, it does work. Just got to format this real quick. But it looks like Caleb sent over his ticket. And I think that's right? 1, 2,
Yeah,
3, 4,
for
5, 6. Yep.
lack of, I'm not going to post multiple tickets, even though I'll play multiple tickets. That's going to be my main ticket. I may play one or two other, $6 or $12 tickets, just kind of, singling 3 or 4 legs, and then trying to, play a hedge maybe against one of the legs I'm more skinny. But that's kind of where I'm going for the most part.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a slam ticket, and I'll just post that one. I got to figure out kind of how I'm gonna do the other tickets, but generally the way I play this is I play 2 tickets at minimum, but sometimes it's multiples. So I'll play like a skinny ticket, and then I'll play a more spread ticket. And if the skinny ticket hits, the spread ticket hits too. So usually I get a little bit of value that way. It was 3, I think it was 5, 9, 10. Oh, I was looking at the wrong race. My ticket does make more sense now. I'm gonna probably play something like this as a slam ticket with the 4 singles. In that Bleecker Street race, the 8th race, where I do have Bleecker Street singled, I'll probably end up tossing in some extra horses in that race, as well as in the 2-year-old stakes in the more spread ticket. But I'm singling the 8 and the 5 to start in both of them, and let the chips fall where they may. But and then Brian's saying that you both allocate about 200 for your pick 6 tickets. I try to keep it around between like 100, 150 usually.
Yeah, I'm about the same. I mean, I don't normally play pick 6. I only play usually when there's carryovers. So, like my pick 5 budget's probably like $50 more often than not. But 50 to 75, for a regular pick 5. But when you have a double pick 6 carryover, I'll go a little deeper into the pocketbook for that.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, the big thing here is a carryover. It's just added money to the pool. I will suggest make sure that if you are playing, that you're playing within your normal means, normal budget. Just don't just because there's a carry doesn't mean that all of a sudden you should play a $250 ticket when you normally don't. But anyways, yeah, it's going to do it for us. Thank you guys for watching. It looks like we got about 8 minutes post this next race, but I think we're going to cut out here since we did not get Mr. Mark Capitan on today. But we're generally going to, like I said, we're going to be doing this every week, running from about 1 hour before post to about the first or second race. Talking about sequences, talking about whatever you guys want. Just a little bit more casual, laid back. And kind of, like I said, revisiting what we talked about on Thursday, because you always got to be nimble when you're handicapping bet. So for Mike Capitan, who's on he's on our man on the streets, Caleb, Josh, we're on the wrong lead. Check us out at wrong_lead, on thewronglead.com. You can buy t-shirts. If you haven't signed up for AM Wager, you can support us. Sign up for AM Wager. There's a link in the description below. And shout out to Keep Pounding.